では、荻原健二さんにお願いします。
お願いします。
Yeah, I hope you guys love this movie. It was a lot of fun to make, and it's a nice ride to take. I think you guys will really like it. Well, I first read the script and I fell in love with it. I thought it was such a nice story. I thought there were so many interesting characters in the movie. And so when I set up a meeting with Troy Duffy, and we hit it off right away. We went straight to a bar that he worked at, and drank about 15 beers and bonded. And he said, "You got the part." He said, "You're gonna play this part." But at that point, it was a Miramax movie. And Miramax was sort of pushing for John Bon Jovi to play my part, which was pretty upsetting. But there was another Miramax movie that I was offered. Penelope Spheris was going to direct a movie called Senseless. And I told Miramax I would do Senseless if you gave me the Boondock Saints. And it was kind of a struggle, but we finally got it made. Well, I mean, it's about two brothers. They're not professional killers. They just, they sort of stumble into this mind frame, mostly through their belief in religion and the belief in their mother. They feel like they have sort of a divine intervention to clean up the streets of South Boston. But so what I liked about it was just too. When I first read it, I thought it was more of a comic book. I thought that these two brothers were more like superheroes, and I just liked the fact that they sort of bumbled their way through all of the executions, I guess. But I don't know. It wasn't so much one particular thing. I liked all the parts in the script. I liked every single character in the movie. I thought they blended together really nicely. I really like the scene up. I don't know if everybody's ever seen the movie or not, but there's one scene in a courtroom where all of the tension sort of builds to a head, and we take over the courtroom, and there's a mafia boss who's on trial, who's about to be sentenced to life, but we deem it better that we kill him. So we break into the courtroom. We take over the proceedings, and we jump up on the table and sort of read them their rights. And I particularly like that scene because of Troy Duffy, because usually you work with the director and he kind of sits back like this and he goes, "Action." But Troy was like, "You deliver these people," and so he was so gung ho about it that we were just like, "Yeah." It was a nice experience to work with a director like that. Well, the first one, its release in America was, what happened, before the movie was even completely cut together, 2 days before we had the tragedy at the Columbine High School in Colorado. And there were a lot of similarities between what happened at that case and what happened in the movie. We both wore trench coats, we used shotguns. There was a thing that happened in America. I mean, even our President Clinton was getting hassled by all these groups about violence in movies, and the stuff with Marilyn Manson, and what caused these kids to do such a horrible thing. But I don't know. We knew that we were going to offend people with this movie, but we never saw it on that grand a scale. But after the movie was done, nobody would touch it. They said you should wait a year before you put the movie out, and that way, things will die down from that situation. But Troy didn't want to wait, and so we didn't. And I don't know. It's a horrible thing. I mean, about the second part of the question. A funny thing happened to me. I have two little brothers. One's 11 and one's 12. And my mom calls me on the phone, and she says, they had dress-up day at school today, and your little brother went as the Boondock Saints. He and his best friend. They wore trench coats, they had rosary beads, they even put tattoos on their hand, and they went as the Boondock Saints. And she stopped them right before they left the house because they actually had little water pistols. And so I got him on the phone and I told him, you don't need the water pistols. That's a little too far. It's you have to think of these characters more as superheroes and not as vigilantes so much. I mean, I don't know, I tried to explain to him that the violence wasn't the main part. It was just sticking up as a group to go against the evil people and to stop certain things in the society. It's like at the end of the movie, there's all these interviews with people on the street, and some people say, "Yay, Boondock Saints," and some people say, "Don't feed into it." But I think the important part of any artistic medium is to pose questions. You know, if people are talking about it afterwards, then I think that's the best you can do. You know, and so many great. This is long. So many great works of art, you know, have been shunned for political reasons or artistic reasons, and then later in life, they come up as a big deal. So it's a touchy subject. Well, Sean and I, the first thing I said to Sean when I met him after we started the movie, I was like, we have to be brothers. Like, if he's Irish, so if my Irish accent isn't up to par, tell me. If you want to help with something, let me tell you. Like, I mean, literally, I followed Sean for 2 weeks before we started shooting, and I tried to walk like him. I tried to make us like one machine, basically, just one unit. And he was down for the idea. We got on really, really well. And then Willem. Actually, there was a few moments with Sean where we sort of clashed, but like brothers do, I guess. But Willem, he was always a big inspiration for me. I've seen every movie he's done. I've been a big fan of his. And he when I first met him, he was sitting by the water and he was doing yoga, and he was kind of like, he wasn't actually doing yoga, but he was in his pose, and he's a very focused man. He's very dedicated to what he does. He doesn't really need any sort of outside stimulation to keep him going. It's all about what's in here with that guy. And it was nice to watch him work. There's actually there's a scene in the movie where we're being interrogated in the police station, and he's sitting across the table, and Sean and I are on both sides, and I have to speak Russian, German, Latin, Spanish, I don't know how many languages, and I lost it before I couldn't remember. I was mixing my German and my Russian, and the camera would go around us, right? And so when it got behind Willem, to just the back of his head, he would go, you know, and then the camera would come back around, he'd be like this, you know, and he'd go back around, and he was messing me up so bad. And so after every take, I'd go, Willem, stop it, cut it out, you're messing me up. And he would just laugh. But he's such an actor's actor that he could see that I was sort of uncomfortable with, you know, mumbling my words, and he just got me to like relax and laugh and loosen up, and then I got it. You know, he's a joy to work with. Well, he asked me to lift weights and shovel raw meat in my mouth for about a month. He just wanted me to get hard. He wanted my head to be hard, and the movie actually is based on he and his brother. He's got a twin brother who, Troy is kind of the guy who takes care of situations, he plans things, he uses his head, and the other brother kind of just uses his fist. And he had me hang out with his brother a lot, which was very dangerous to put me with his brother. But you know, the thing about Troy is he was so passionate about all of this that when it came down to the accent, when it came down to the prayer, when I first met, he was so on it, but when I first met him, first time I met him was at the bar. After that, I went to his apartment, and I step in his apartment, and he opens up a suitcase full of guns, and he goes, he grabs a gun, and he goes, here, you have to do this. Time me, ready, go. You know, and he just wanted everything. He wanted us to be so into our characters that we knew how to take apart every gun, put it back together, and you know, he was very dedicated. It was easy to get behind him and be good in the movie. That Vanity Fair cover, I went out with a friend of mine to a party that he was throwing the night before, and I was in a blue sequin dress at this party. Should I say that? Yeah. Okay. So, a blue dress. If you notice on the cover, everybody is wearing suits and they've had their hair done and their makeup done. I was an hour late for that shoot, and I showed up, and Annie Leibovitz, the photographer, was like, no, wear that, and come in here. And then Graydon Carter, who owns Vanity Fair, had a Ski-Doo vest on. And he made me wear the scarf to cover up the Ski-Doo emblem. But that's how seriously I took that Vanity Fair Hot Hollywood issue. You know, I did a campaign for the Prada clothing at one point, and they were using a series of actors, and it was John Malkovich did it, then Tim Roth did it, then Willem Dafoe did it, then Joaquin Phoenix did it, and then I did it, and then then he did it, and because of that press for doing that campaign, people said, oh, he's a model. But I don't think I'm a very good model, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I actually, when they chose me to be on that cover with those actors, I didn't want to do it at first. At first I said no, and the people that represent me were like, are you crazy? You need to go do this. But I have made a conscious choice to do independent films for a while. And the reason is because I felt that so many bad movies were being made, you know. I wouldn't do a Scream 6 or 7, or a 3 or a 2 even. I wouldn't do it because I don't see the point in those movies. And I like schlock films as much as anybody else. But and just the parts I felt it important starting out as an actor to really learn, you know. And I think a lot of those movies, you don't have to do much, you know. So I chose to do movies that pushed me to become a better actor, and those just happen to be independent movies. You know, they pay less money, but they pay more than most other jobs, you know. One of the first jobs that I was ever asked to do was a soap opera, and I was like, I'm not going to do a soap opera, you know. And they were like, you're going to make so much money, and I was like, I don't care about the money right now. I'd rather become good at this craft, and then, you know, see where it goes. But it's been my choice to do that. I have a couple of studio movies coming out this year. And I'm about to go do another one, which is why my hair. I'm trying to look like a vampire. But Yeah, I've just chosen to do those. I may branch out a little bit more this year, but. Um,
どうもありがとうございました。